When I studied violin, I was 5 years old, and well, I come from a musical family, and my mom is playing violin, and my dad is playing piano, and he's also conducting. I mean, he's retired now, but I still learned from them quite a lot. I think my job is partly, I hope every one of my colleagues are agreeing, to stick to the conductor at first and to find out as fast as possible what he wants. It's not always easy, I have to say, but yeah, I think this is my role, really, to find out what the conductor wants without really talking about it a lot, to transfer to the section and if possible to the orchestra as well. I really like to live in London because if you think, I'm coming from the eastern part of Germany, from a town which has about 38,000 inhabitants, and I studied in Weimar, which is a bit bigger. So, I mean, living in a city where about 8 million people are living, it's quite a change. I quite like it, yeah. I have to say I really like it because it's very buzzing here. If you go to the South Bank Centre, there's always something, even until 12 o'clock, I mean, midnight every day, Monday to Sunday. And I really like that. It's something that makes you're in the centre of a buzzing city. I had 2 teachers only, which is actually great somehow. I went to boarding school, and with this professor, I learned very much from him, not just the violin player. I learned also about human beings and about, in German we would say, about the world and God, you know. I actually realized that's going to be my life. I have to earn my money with this thing, what I'm doing now. So I started actually quite early. This is what I'm very happy for, that, because I was actually the youngest person in the National Youth Orchestra in our county. I was 13, and that was my first experience actually to play an orchestra. That was very exciting because we played big stuff like Mahler 1, and this was the time when I really started to get to know this big repertoire, but big orchestra stuff. I got into the EUIO, the European Union Youth Orchestra, in 2001, and I stayed there for 6 years. From 2005 on, I was leading the orchestra. This was the true challenging point, because then I started seriously to think about being leader or concertmaster of an orchestra in a very high profession. I started in Germany in a professional orchestra to work, and I was for 1 year with 23. In the age of 23, I was the youngest concertmaster in Germany. I learned a lot from my colleagues there. I've been very grateful to them because I not just learned to play in orchestra, not just being a leader, also to learn how to talk to my colleagues, how to be responsible, because the bigger and the more high profile the orchestra is, you have to have a thick skin, if you can say that in English, I don't know. When I was living here for a year or 2 years, I actually discovered more and more the orchestras in London, and I thought what makes the Philharmonia special is, if you think about the history about the orchestra, most of the conductors are coming from the old German school, for example. Everybody in this orchestra is taking care about the sound. Every player actually, and this is what I really like. The string sound is very round, very rich and warm. I had a German teacher, but he studied in Russia, and I had, so to say, Russian school. Very much sound and drawing the violin, and you know, always like that. And when I came here, I had a very extensive vibrato, for example. But now I learned actually better to use it, more flexibility about sound, and sometimes non-vibrato, sometimes little, sometimes small. These are really detailed things what you actually decide in a millisecond if you're playing in an orchestra. My violin is a Guarneri, a Piet of Venice, and it's from around 1730. It's a very projecting violin, and it makes a very dark sound, which I really like. I like dark sound. I like also intimate sound about violins. If I'm good in form, if I'm really practiced very well, then of course it depends on me as well, not just the violin. Then my violin sounds actually quite big and quite rich and very dark. I'm still finding new colors actually. It's, you know, it's to play an instrument is always a philosophy. The better the instruments, the more you can find and the more time you need to find something. And then the bow is also plays a role, and strings. And actually, it's quite something to think about. The more I'm being in the Philharmonia, outside of the Philharmonia, I much more appreciate the free time now. In the free time, I'm listening quite often actually to jazz, like, you know, this old jazz like Nat King Cole or Stefan Grappelli and all those stuff, and it's yeah, very smooth, and you can relax, and it's just nice. I'm doing lots of chamber music and solo recitals, and you're never really stopping to learn. Yeah, it's very exciting, and I think it's gonna stay like that. I hope.